Aloha kakayaka. I'd like to convene this meeting, call this meeting to order of the Hawaii Tourism Authority on the February 29th at 9:31 a.m. I want to welcome all our members that are here today. We have another robust agenda before us, and therefore, we'd now like to proceed with the roll call.
Roll call. Chair Hanneman.
Present.
Mahalo. Vice Chair Paishan is excused. Member Agas.
Present and alone.
Mahalo. Member Arakawa is excused. Member Ching.
Here.
Mahalo. Member Yona.
Present and alone.
Mahalo. Member McCully is excused. Member Menor McNamara.
Present and alone.
Mahalo. Member Miyasato.
Present.
Mahalo. And Member Tokioka.
Present and alone.
Mahalo nui. Member White is excused. Member Zane.
Present and alone.
Mahalo nui. You have quorum, Chair.
Mahalo. Let's now proceed to our opening protocol.
Aloha kakahia kakako, Chair, board members, mahalo nui kay ako anamay. Kamoan na lauhala, virtual that is, our virtual mat. We come around and talk story and greet each other. First image. Thoughts to yourself. What do you see? What are they doing? What are they looking at? How are they? What does this image bring to mind? Ano Leila? Aloha mahina o Hawaii yaka ko apau. Happy Hawaiian Language Month to all of us. Although we're at the tail end, you can always incorporate Aloha Hawaii in your daily life. I encourage you to learn more, get involved, and not just in the month of Pepeluali, in the month of February, but throughout the year. E ho'opili mai kako. Ma. Ka.
Ka.
U. Ka. U. Ma ko ko. We know this word. We're familiar with this word. We hear it all the time. We know that it means able, competent, capable, handy, efficient, proficient. The list goes on. Ma ko ko ole, unprepared, unskilled, unqualified, not ready. Ho'o ma ko ko, to prepare, to make ready. Ho'o ma ko ko ia makeia kanavai, provided for by this law, as an example. Also, ma ko ko is a star name. What it's not ma ka'u ka'u, which is the reduplication of maka'u, or ho'o maka'u, or ho'o ma ka'u ka'u, to scare, to frighten, scared, or frightened. And it's not mau kau kau. Mo meaning always, steady, consistent, ever, unceasing, permanent, stationary, continual, perpetual. And kau kau is a chant of lamentation as addressing the dead directly. So it's not those things, but we know it as ma kau kau. Ho'opili mai kako, ma kau kau.
Ma kakao.
Oh yeah. So maybe this image brought about the term of standing ready. Standing ready with the kumu in front of them to chant, to oli, to hula, to dance, ready for the day, ready for the sunrise, ready for whatever may come their way. Last Vehena, I shared a start of an oli, a start of a mo'olelo, a start of a ka'au, a portion of history, this migration of Pele and her siblings. Ke ka'au a Pele I ha'avi ia ya kamoali'i I ka ha'aleleana ya kahiki. Hu mako e hele me ku maupoki i aloha. Ka aina mako I kuele malalo aku nei. A e mako me ku upoki I kau I kawa. No I au ka hoi a ka moli. A e kau I ka nalu. He nalu haki kākala. He nalu I miana ka aina hiki aku ai. These first set of lines tell us that Pele and her siblings, her kindred beloved, as Emerson translates. Mahalo to the translation on the side, you can see. Pele stands on the beach, ready to go on this voyage. To go on this voyage where? I ka'aina I Ikeoleai, to an unknown land. But it's okay. Their pilot, Kamohoali'i, her eldest brother, is Makaukau. No iau kahoi a Kamohoali'i. The pilot is well skilled. He nalu haki kakala, he nalu imiana ka aina e hiki aku ai. The waves were crashing, the waves were rough. But it's okay, because the waves were taking them to that destination. O ni hoa ka aina mako I paimu aku ai, lele a enei mako kauiuka o ni hoi. O ka hana noa ko upoki a kane apua, o ka ho'ili ka iho ka waa no ike kai e. Vai hoa ne o ka moholi a kane apua I uka o ni hoa. No I au ka hoi a ka moholi, a pai ka aina I kapa ia o le hua. Now we see images of land. First land, Nihoa. Nihoa is unlike any other northwestern Hawaiian islands, with 900-foot cliffs, basalt rock surfaces, and tiny beach. This small island is about 171 acres and is at the southeastern end of the Northwestern Hawaiian Islands. Thanks to UH Coral Health Atlas for that information. You can see the cliffs. And this is where Pele, Kamohoali'i, and the siblings landed first. In this set of lines, we see that the youngest brother, one of the younger brothers, Kaniapua, his kuleana was to prepare the bow so that it might, go under the waves. But in his preparation of the bow, Kamohoali'i and the rest of the siblings accidentally left Kaniapua at Nihoa. Now, this isn't the kind of day trips we take on Hawaiian and get to your destination on time arrival, and then you leave, right? It's not that type of voyage. It's a type of voyage that takes a long preparation. And then when you get to your destination and you set a course for the next destination, or you turn your va'a, there's no turning back real quick. We know that. So Kaniapua was left at Nihoa, and the rest of the clan and Kamohoali'i went to Lehua. And this is where I'll end for today, and we'll continue next time. Mahalo nui, Chair. Aloha kako.
Job well done, mahalo maka. We move to the next part of our agenda. Does anyone have a meeting or presentation that they attended that was not organized by the board? Seeing none, we can now move to the approval of meeting minutes of our January 25, 2024 regular board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the board minutes?
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Member Miyasato. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Ching. All those in favor signify, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None to the contrary, the minutes have been approved. Let's now move to our CEO report.
Aloha board members, Ili here will set up our quick presentation. It's been we're only into the second month of the year, but it's been very busy over the past 2 months. So I have a bunch of things to show you what we've accomplished so far. And a lot has happened even within our industry as well. So first, I'd like to give you a recap again of what our goals are as HTA for the year. In this first year, or this current year, 2024, We're continuing to use our marketing to recover demand to Maui, right? Particularly in the US and Canada markets. We are also trying to shore up our international markets because we know going forward in 25, 26, there's expectations of softening in the global economy. So we want to ensure that we are marketing to the appropriate high spending visitors that are able to come during those time periods. By the second year, so 25, we should be managing our destinations through our island destination management action plans, as well as, remember, we requested in our departmental budget for 5 additional positions to be our on-island destination managers. So our goal by the end of the second year is fully integrate the destination managers in our planning and implementation work. By the end of the 5th year, we should be there and successfully shifting the type of tourism that we offer here in Hawaii to a more regenerative model. So currently, we are working in programs such as technical assistance and training to develop more community-based tourism. Also in our community awards, we are funding those programs that make the shift, the kind of tourism that has contributes more to our directly to our community-based economy, to our residents, as well as we've been working on programs such working with hotels on green business programs, et cetera. So that by the 5th year, we should see a complete shift in terms of what we look at. I mean, it's still a visitor destination, there'll still be resorts, et cetera. But the way we contribute to the economy and the way we sustain our environment and our destination will have a completely different mindset, both from residents as well as visitors coming here. Mahalo. Next. Next, please. So I'd like to give you a recap. Remember back, the board approved emergency funding. Sorry, it's a little small, but I'll just go through this. So you approved US Maui Marketing Recovery Program's second round. So that's for the 2024 first half of the year, and Canadian Marketing Recovery. We currently have all that contracted and currently in progress. You'll see updates at our spring update next Wednesday, where they are and some of the programs that have been integrated into the recovery. In terms of supporting businesses to continue to provide a consistent message that Maui is open. So we have both contracted to update gohawaii.com with additional Maui businesses and what new products are there on Maui. And we are also working to take up and expose more Maui businesses to the US continent. In fact, we are paying to support some businesses to go with a pop-up marketing program in New York with Mana Up, as well as some of the things you'll see next week talking about West Coast type of activations, and we'll be paying for particularly featuring Maui businesses, particularly and more importantly, those who actually are having a difficult time right now, so we can get more exposure for them. Number 2 was to support and encourage consistent messaging and outreach to Maui residents, visitor industry stakeholders. So we'll talk a little bit about the Makaukou Maui campaign later on in our presentations today. And that's moving along, and I'm sure many of you have seen the ads already running and some of the talk that we've had on the news. Number 2B, which is support and encourage consistent Malama Maui message to visitors. So one of the concerns was that there was not enough Maui-specific messaging to visitors once they get on island because things have changed and the conditions have changed on Maui. So we have enhanced our contract with Kilohana, and they are working on things such as Maui itineraries. They've changed some of the messaging and adding more messaging, particularly to Maui. Next, please. Support Maui small businesses. So one of the things, again, is not only the resorts and the hotels, but the small businesses Lahaina eliminated a lot of their outlets for selling product and venues for the small businesses. So we're working with the county and CNHA actually to set up these outlets for them to actually feature their product and sell to visitors as well as residents, and expanding their exposure. And then for expand and tourism product on Maui, so that's integrated into what I just mentioned earlier, our US and Canada programs, as well as, again, technical assistance to create new product on Maui now that things have shifted a bit over the next couple of years. And then number 5, supporting and providing long-term housing. So we are working with CNHA, who is the designated short-term or temporary housing coordinators right now. So we're working with them to broadcast more to residents, get them more involved, as well as participants on the business side, the TBRs, to participate in the program. And we worked with Lele Aloha to provide more information to residents about what are the resources available and put them in contact with the various online sites and activations for government agencies. Next, please. So into some of our existing programs, as I mentioned, Canada and Japan, you also authorize additional funding for Canada and Japan, and that has all been executed, and you'll see some updates on Wednesday at our spring tourism update program. Global support services, those are things like developing and managing and maintaining our Go Hawaiʻi site, the Go Hawaiʻi app, as well as media related to that, supporting a media, Share Aloha programs, and also our air route network development. So it's been awarded, and actually contract has been finalized. We're just awaiting final signatures and moving into starting that program back up again. Support, and that it supports all of our markets, international as well as domestic. Meet Hawaii, there was a question last month about did we contract the Meet Hawaii corporate sales position? So that has been resolved. So just an update, the contract, we've amended the Meet Hawaii contract to include payment or funding for a new position. And I think they've already identified someone or in the process of hiring someone for, and Lynn will update us on that later in today's presentations. Next, please. On the destination stewardship side, you'll hear from Kilohana today about our community programs that have been awarded, and you all received the press release about our 160 plus community-based organizations and signatory events that have been awarded funding for the 2024 year. As I mentioned, we are continuing to produce visitor education post-arrival, including what you see at the airports, in-room video, etc. And Kilohana will talk a little bit more about that as well. And we're continuing on our East Maui Tourism Management Pilot Program. That's the Hana Highway, and having communities take on the kuleana of stewarding the area, managing traffic in the area, making sure that visitors park safely and know what to do and what's expected when they visit the area. And as you can see some of the pictures and what they do. So when visitors arrive in, say, one of the site and pull-off points, they'll be greeted by these stewards, explaining a little bit about the area, the safety measures, and they're from that area. So they can talk a little bit more about the stories of living there and why it's important to be respectful in visiting, because you're actually meeting an actual resident of the community. Next, please. On the planning side, as workforce is very critical to what we're doing. Caroline has finished up the workforce development plan. And we are also currently working through the quality assurance program. Kilohana will talk a little bit more about that today. And that is the one about ensuring that businesses follow certain standards. So we ensure a high quality experience for the visitors, as well as it aligns with regenerative and sustainable tourism practices. We've been working with community groups and an advisory committee with both businesses and residents on providing us what is important for a quality experience and business to operate in Hawaii. Next, please. And then on our side, updates on staffing. So we have made an offer, or through the process of hiring another destination brand manager. Remember we have 2 open positions for just destination brand managers. One is going through the process. As was mentioned a couple months ago, we have to, because of the budget restrictions, we had to submit the information to BNF and the governor. So it's making its way through the process. Governance study. Remember, we authorized a governance study, and we have awarded the contract to Better Destinations, LLC, which includes both local component as well as advisors from other that are based in the US as well as actually in Europe. We're currently in the process of interviewing and meeting with communities, and there will be a survey going out to the community as well. So just to let you know, from the board's perspective, we've already presented to the governance pig about the work plan, and so they've been informed about that. The governance pig members will be part of the co-collaboration on each island, little community meetings. But all board members will be interviewed at some point along the way by our consultants and talked to. So they'll start to schedule meetings with you, as well as staff are all being interviewed as well. So they'll be in town all of next week doing local meetings, but they may also schedule, online meetings with you to talk about the project, as well as interview and get your mana'o about what is the best way to manage tourism in the state of Hawaii. What form should it be when there's a government agency or such? Those are the kind of questions. And what are the problems that we face now, and how can we make this come up with solutions for a better operations going forward for the whole state of Hawaii? And then I'd like to turn it over. As I mentioned, it's been a busy 2 months just on crisis responses as well. I'll turn it over to Ilihia to talk a little bit more about some of the things we worked on already just in the first 2 months.
Mahalo nui, Daniel. In addition to our ongoing response to the devastating Maui wildfires, there were 2 things recently that we helped get the word out about to industry, community, and the traveling public. One was the grounding of the 737 MAX 9s that had some effects on flights to and from the Hawaiian Islands. We made sure to be available to support any visitors who were unable to get where they needed to go, working closely, of course, with our airline partners on that. The other one, 3 actually, I'll talk about. Another was in Hilo. There was some mechanical issues with some of the screening equipment that caused some very long lines that resulted in delays, things like that. And so making sure we communicated that clearly and stayed in touch with airports and the like. And then the third was the closure of the one and only runway at Kona International Airport, really important gateway to the Hawaiian Islands and only one runway. So this particular damage needed to get repaired before they could reopen. So there was an overnight closure that was unexpected. We scrambled our team to make sure that if it came to it, if we needed to help move perhaps diverted passengers from Hilo to their accommodations in Kona, or the other way around, it turns out that the airlines diverted most of those flights to Honolulu or other places and accommodated their passengers. Those folks who did end up staying at the airport, we tried to make them as comfortable as possible, working with airport management in Kona. So those were some of the immediate crises that we responded to in the past month or so. Oops. So next I wanted to talk about our spring tourism update. Last year, it was in April. It was an in-person event. And this year, we thought it would be more effective to put that together with Tourism Day, which last year was in March. And so we present to you Spring Tourism Week. So on Wednesday, we'll be holding our Spring Tourism update in the form of a live stream from here at the Hawaii Convention Center. Make sure the industry gets the latest updates from our markets and the community, our latest updates on stewardship and planning efforts. To put that spring tourism update on, we do have our entire global marketing team in town, And so we couple that public update with our internal partner meetings, as well as industry partner meetings organized by the GMTs who do not have a presence here physically in Hawaii. So it's their opportunity to connect with industry partners. Wednesday, as I mentioned, our update. Thursday, our Oahu fam to showcase, with the help of the Oahu Visitors Bureau, some of the new and exciting products that are in town. And then on Friday, partnering with our friends at HLTA, HVCB, CNHA, and the Native Hawaiian Hospitality Association to put on Tourism Day at the Capitol, which is our time every year to showcase the latest in the industry to our lawmakers, as well as members of the public who are so interested. So that is coming up next week. And then I also wanted to give a quick update on our efforts over at the Capitol. So we're tracking 135 measures of interest this session. There are a number of measures that are advancing, codifying destination management, about marketing the convention center, naming rights for the convention center, enabling agricultural tourism, certainly monitoring the green fee very closely, paid state-funded internships to help more aspiring hospitality leaders to get exposure to the industry very early in their career planning. Planning for regenerative tourism, that's an Aina Aloha economic futures priority. The Smart Destination app introduced by our House Tourism Chair, and 2 measures transferring some of our cultural programming to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts. A few measures that are not advancing include things on tour guide licensing, a tourism liaison officer with the governor's office, restoring the tourism special fund, and transferring the convention center to the Department of Accounting and General Services. Our budget request, again, $70 million, 38 positions. The governor's package request, $60 million, and the 25 current positions. There's one other quick thing that I wanted to talk through at the Capitol happening in about an hour and a half. Our good friend and board member, Jimmy Tokioka, will be on the Senate floor for voting on his confirmation. So we wanted to congratulate you, wish you all the best. We were going to give you a lei when you were coming here, but I cannot find the button to do that on Zoom. But please know that all of our aloha, our congratulations and best wishes are with you, and we appreciate all the leadership that you've brought to DBED, as well as your hard work here with us through many trials and tribulations with the fires and all of that, all your hard work here, basically 24/7, and your leadership of the day-to-day, moving the needle forward. So mahalo, Jimmy. Back to you, Daniel.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Jimmy. I think you wanted to say something?
Well, yeah, that gives me chicken skin. Thank you very much, Ilihia, for those kind words and the support, and for the support during the confirmation hearing from all of you. Very greatly appreciated, and we look forward to the continued collaboration of DBED and HTA and the entire industry. So thank you. Thank you very much, Ilihia. And everyone.
Mahalo, Jimmy. Yes.
Aloha.
Aloha. So any other questions for the CEO or the staff?
Yes, if I may, just a couple of questions. So for the crisis response plan, is it your intention to codify all of the recommendations? I mean, I think you made a really good point about the closure of the Kona runway. You know, theoretically, given the fact that it's one runway and one single point of failure on that side of the island, it's probably a good idea to think about alternate Hilo International, and then work maybe with the car rental folks to, you know, shuttle cars back and forth. I think the airlines would have gone into Hilo had there been a plan B infrastructure-wise in place, you know, under that event. Related to that, Haima just did a session with a bunch of industry folks. HTA wasn't there, but Hawaiian, as an example, Airlines was present. I think we had like the Trucking Association. It was all in response to the Maui wildfires, and getting coalition and Hui together to start having these plans in place so you can implement them quickly. So I would suggest that maybe we reach out to Hawaiʻi. They're going to take the lead on this effort, and I think it's actually a really good effort. You know, having voices from the industry, hotel, airlines, car rentals, part of the bigger efforts around these kinds of situations. So anyway, just wanted to comment that I thought that was really good work. Related to the governance study. So the baseline for that study is what we currently have available to us in statute. Is that correct? And I'm alluding to the independent nature, as I understand it, of the HTA, the Hawaii Tourism Authority, as an organization. And the governance study will relate to that in terms of, that's the baseline, that's where we're starting.
So their approach is they have that as one scenario.
Okay.
And then we'll introduce discussion on other scenarios, as well as the issues related to what's pros and cons now, and then other models that from their research from other destinations and other best practices. And so that would be some of the discussion happening over the course of next week with certain groups, and then part of the survey, and then interviews. They'll be talking about that. And then there'll be a second round of ideation to kind of put all the best pieces together to create their recommendation.
Excellent. Thank you.
I wanted to address the Ha'ima issue. So we do have our emergency plan and programs that we work with Ha'ima to produce, and actually they have to authorize and work with them. So I think we're going to follow up with them after they collected the industry information and input, and we'll work to address our issues. And plus the plan that SMS did also had additional recommendations that we've modified our existing processes to address some of those that came up.
Yeah, that's great. I think what I got out of the session was, identifying best practice, and also what I think I plan to do shortly after the wildfires in Maui was, from the HTA perspective, was to inventory all of the available resources, convention center, airlines, hotels, so that it's one place to tap into those resources. This felt like a new exercise, and so I just want to make sure that we don't miss the opportunity to be, at the table for those conversations.
Any other questions? I'd just like to remind everybody. Oh, sorry, Jimmy, you had something.
Oh,
Yes.
no problem. No problem. I just wanted to follow up on the Better Destinations program. So how do we hire the consultants that we use for this? And I'm asking because I believe it's a mainland company, and then they're hiring local consultants to do the work of that RFP or of that contract. So how do we select that?
So it was an RFP process. Actually, Isaac can
do
answer.
this. So we went through the regular RFP process. We had an evaluation committee, and we scored all the proposals. And actually, we did have a debrief from one of the vendors that did not get the contracts. And so I did the debrief. And so when you looked at the scoring, Director, it really came down to methods and procedures that they were going to use. So it looked like all the vendors, as far as their qualifications and everything, all kind of matched up. But the vendor that we particularly chose was based on their particular method that they were going to use to do this governance study. That was the evaluation criteria. Everything else was the same, like, qualifications and all this stuff. Everything else was, relatively all the same. But the vendor that we chose, their methods and how they were going to proceed was different, and that's how we chose the vendor.
Thank you for that explanation, Isaac. So I would just say to everyone who's watching this, and outside of that, local companies need to pay attention to these RFPs, Because it just seems odd to me that we hire a mainland company and then they hire local consultants to do the work. So, yes,
I just wanted to clarify, it's, they didn't hire a separate they did not subcontract. The local company is a team member in the group. They've been very active in the work. And actually our contractors that are right now in the US, those team members actually will be here on island. So everybody will be here next week working on the project.
thank you.
And Director Tokioka, this is Dave Arakawa. I agree with your view on these contracts, and our local vendors should be aware of these and address these seriously. The vendor that was chosen knew all of the issues that HTA has faced in the past 5, 6, 7 years, and had a deep understanding of how those issues arose and things like that. We gave the opportunity for all the vendors to address those issues, and they addressed it. The vendor that was selected addressed it head on, and some of the other vendors were not aware, or they responded that we'll see what happens. And they didn't get into that. So the vendor that was selected kind of knew HTA's issues and the issues at the legislature and the public better than almost anybody. Us, I was going to say us, but we know better. But it was surprising that the depth of knowledge that they had, and they way outpaced the other consultants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah,
you.
You can go over that. So that's why.
And also,
Okay.
Director, in the RFP process, after we got the initial proposals, we did do a second round question to make sure that we honed in on the issue. And in my estimation, I didn't want the vendors to be spinning their wheels. So the committee itself was very, very good. We did a second round question to make sure that we're going down the right track. And this particular vendor, I like their response. And also I like to add that this particular vendor actually wrote a book that I'm reading right now. And so I'll be critiquing their book versus what they do for us.
Okay, and then one more quick question for you, Daniel. So the Oka project that was on the screen that Ilihia showed, is that when did we start that? Because that's awesome if we're doing that. And then how do we select those sites that we do that at?
Can I have would be best for Caroline to answer that, because she was started off this project.
Sure. So for that, it's called the East Maui Tourism Management Pilot Program. We issued an RFP, I believe it was back in April 2023. Working with MVCB, they issued it. And then selection was made in the summer of 2023. And there's 4 community organizations that are implementing various sites, this management program. So it's through an RFP process. And we wanted to make sure that those organizations are from the area so that it's place-based stewardship. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, most of it. And I can follow up later on with you folks. But yeah, thank you for that. And it really will help tourists know what to do and how not to get hurt, which we know many of them go into places that they shouldn't go. So thank you.
Thanks. And sorry, I should have also mentioned, so this project started last month with the stores being there at the sites.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
And Member Tokioka, just wanted to add that the places that were chosen were from the DMAP list of hotspots and identified by those community groups as places that were a good place to start with proving this concept of community stewardship. This one was a little different than some of the other community stewardship projects we've done because they tend to be along a roadside. So many more partners involved in terms of getting rights of entry and MOAs, things like that. So it was a pretty complex project, and I just want to commend all the partners who pulled that all together.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Caroline and Ilya.
Mahalo everyone for providing that additional information. And we're also doing these on Hawaii Island as well. So if there's no other questions, I just remind those out there in Zoom land that our spring tourism update is on Wednesday. And if you want to participate and listen in and submit questions, please go to hawaiitourismauthority.org and you can register for our spring update on Wednesday. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Daniel. Now's the opportunity for me to give my board chair report. I want to start by saying Happy Leap Day to everyone. I just learned something this morning from Carol. I don't know if Carol can verify that, but she said that on Leap Day, traditionally, that's when the women ask men to get married. So I have to reference this with respect to my parents. They got married on Leap Day or Leap Year. So we used to kid my dad that he did it because he didn't want to buy an anniversary gift every year. He would do it every 4 years. And I know in this case, he definitely was after my mom. It wasn't the other way around. So thought I'd share that. Add a bit of levity to our meeting this morning. Great report, Daniel. Let me begin with Ma Kau Kau. So I want to, especially those on Zoom land, get an understanding why this is really important and essential for the Hawaii Tourism Authority. This came out of our committee, our big committee that was chaired by Mahina, our vice chair, who unfortunately could not be here with us this morning. And that was one of the recommendations that we pivot, or I should say complement what we were doing with the Malama campaign. And now it was an opportunity to be much more proactive by demonstrating that residents on Maui, by and large, want to go back to work. Businesses, by and large, want to be able to reopen. So we were able to get approval from the committee. We came to the full board, and we said that we'd like to embark on this. And we are getting some very good responses. I made sure that before we went forward, Governor Green, Mayor Bisson, key state lawmakers were apprised of this effort so that we could show that this is a very positive message that we'd like to get out there. So I wanted to show you first that we actually have a website that people can go to. And it's not just replaying the ads, if you will, but also pertinent information that HLTA is working either individually as an organization or working in concert with other agencies to show collective state effort in terms of the resources that are out there for businesses, for West Maui community members, and of course, a message to our visitors. Again, emphasizing the fact that this is a time to really start to reopen Maui. So let me go back to the 60-second commercial, or I should say public service announcement that is currently being played. Is also in 2 30-second spots on all the major television stations.
For Maui, it's a new beginning. With honor and deep respect, we're moving forward. We're planting the seeds for Maui's future. We're ready to get people back to work, ready to get our economy going again. It's our chance to start over, to envision and build an even better Maui. More resilient, more sustainable. We all have to do our part, and we'll make this happen, working together.
We're ready.
Ready.
We are ready to work. Ready to serve.
We are ready to guide you. Ready.
Ready. We're ready. All ready.
Ready.
Ready. We are ready.
For more information, visit makaukaumoi.com.
So as you can see, we went to great lengths to make sure that we were representing basically all segments of the Maui community. Tried to get to different businesses that are very important to Maui's recovery. And if you see that the individuals that were selected also come from different ethnic backgrounds and the like. So this is really a major effort on our part to demonstrate that the overwhelming support for economic recovery and moving Maui to a point where we can start recouping some of the losses that have been incurred, but more importantly, set the path for a greater future for Maui. This is also being done through print media as well as social media, radio, that we intend to get this message out, and it's embarking on this campaign right now. So very pleased with the response so far. I want to commend Caroline, who's kind of our traffic director here, coordinating the various opportunities that we have to build upon this message. And we asked the stations and the media that are recipients of the funding to promote this to give us additional opportunities to tell the story of Makaukau, but also HTA. So recently, Daniel, as well as Tyler Gomes of Kilohana, were able to take part in a panel discussion on one station about regenerative tourism. This Sunday, there'll be a live segment on Talk Story on another station. Well, some of these workers that you see on the screen are actually be coming to talk about their personal experiences and why it's important to reopen Maui. And Senator DeCoit will be part of that discussion along with Mahina, our vice chair. So we intend to ask all of you on the board, the staff, reaching out to community leaders and the like to participate in these discussions. There's plenty that are going to come up. We certainly want to take advantage of Dylan's fact that he was born and raised in Lahaina. He has businesses that he operates there and so forth. So Dylan is also being targeted for another segment coming up. So if any of you really don't wait for an invitation, if you want to go on, please let Caroline know because there's going to be choke opportunities to take advantage of this. So I'm really pleased that it's getting out there. It's really putting Hawaii Tourism Authority in a very positive light of demonstrating that we want to work and support efforts of the governor, the mayor, the legislature, in this very important task that we have in helping Maui and the rest of the state. Let me turn now to Tourism Day. I just want to say that everybody out there in Zoom land, please take an opportunity to come and join us on Friday. This is part of Tourism Week. I want to commend HTA for tying in what they used to do in April with March to really amplify the fact that tourism is important, and what better place to demonstrate this than in that big square building. And it's truly a collaborative effort. In years past, HLTA used to do it alone, but it just made a lot of sense for all of us to come together. And so we're going to show all the major players that we work with in pursuing this regenerative tourism model. CNHA, NAHA, HVCB, of course, Hawaii Tourism Authority and HLTA will all be there on Friday, March 8th, demonstrating again the importance of tourism and a chance to interact with the legislators. It's well attended. They come through, they browse through the various exhibits that are being there and so forth. So it's a chance for us to talk story, answer their questions and concerns that they may have and so forth. So I wanted to make a special plea in that regard. Just want to mention 2 or 3 issues that I think we need to keep an eye on, and I'm glad it's still alive because these are issues that is driven as much by legislators as it is by HTA or HLTA or the industry. One of them is the codification of destination management. It's very, very important. I cannot tell you how important that is because as we work now to solidify what we do with destination marketing as well as destination management, it's important that this be part and everybody understands that it's in statute. It's in the mission of the Hawaii Tourism Authority. And so I'm very happy to see this go forward. Several legislators have expressed this to me prior to my coming on the board, And it makes a lot of sense that this is the time to demonstrate it and show it, especially since we have crossed our T's and dotted our I's with contract being given to CNHA, now being administered through Kilohana, and working with HTA. The fact that we're trying to bring over also the destination management folks that were at HBCB, all these things make sense. And I think to codify it, to make sure that everybody understands why this is necessary to do so is important. The other bill that I really like that's still alive and moving forward has to do with workforce development. And that is providing government funding for paid internships in the hospitality industry. Workforce development has been an issue that several legislatures, in particular our Ways and Means Chair, has wanted HTA to be much more active in the past. Pleased to see that Caroline has put together a plan that we'll bring before the board. But most importantly, I think at this point in time, it's an opportunity to work with the Department of Labor. Labor in the past has not really paid much attention to doing internship programs, if you will, or apprenticeship programs with the industry, because basically the industry was doing it on its own. They've done a great job with government work, also in dipping into other areas like agriculture and technology, healthcare. So here's an opportunity to bring what we do in the private sector and engage with government to address this very critical issue that we're facing with workforce development. Because as you all know, we have a labor shortage. And we don't want to continue to go down this path of wondering where our workers are going to come from, or not making clear to the young people that are coming through in our community that there are major job opportunities out there in the industry. So we have an opportunity to basically parlay government funding with what we do in the private sector and ensure that everybody benefits. And best example that HCA has done in the past that is existing today that has got a lot of support is the Hawaiʻi program. As you all know, where state funding provides for full 4-year scholarships for public school students to receive their degree in hospitality management at the Scheidler School. This is the 3rd year that it's been occurring. Now the funding comes from the Department of Labor. And we really want to continue this because it's really demonstrating when they say why our local leaders being trained enough to come into the hospitality industry and the like. Well, University of Hawaii and the Scheidler School is demonstrating an excellent partnership that we have with them. And of course, it also translates in working very closely with the Department of Education in that regard, and fulfilling a major objective that Department of Labor has wanted to do for years is how you engage the hospitality industry. So that's a great one. The third one I want to talk about is naming rights for the convention center. There were 2 vehicles that we were looking at to be able to get this approved by the legislature. One of them has been deferred, and that was a bill that we were partnering with the Stadium Authority that wanted to do naming rights as well. That was being proffered by Senator Wakai. That bill has been deferred. But the other bill that was a standalone measure that we were pushing initially is still very much alive in the Senate in discussions I've had with Senate Tourism Chair, Senator Coit. So we've asked Terry Orton to be available, and she has to be able to answer detailed questions on it. Daniel's there, and we're asking members of the industry. It's a really critical in my mind to be able to help the convention center. It's a great timing to do this now with the great success that we are seeing with the convention center. It's a critical piece of our tourism recovery to demonstrate that we are going to bring the business travelers here. We can have major events at the convention center that go beyond just business meetings. As you all know, I'm a great fan, and Terry supports that too, of having more youth sports, more indoor sports to take advantage of the equipment that's been purchased in years past. So as we continue to move forward with the importance of repairing the roof and the maintenance of the convention center, here's an opportunity to get an additional revenue stream to help the convention center and do what probably should have been done years ago and trying to get this in the toolbox, but better late than never. I'm hopeful that if it comes out of the Senate, we can work in the House to also get that approved and move that forward. And the last thing that I want to bring up is the governance study. So I've heard the discussion this morning about why this particular vendor was selected and so forth. So I just wanted board members to know that I had a meeting that they sought with me as the board chair with Better Destination. It was a long meeting. I took the opportunity to share my manao in terms of my particular feelings, and also I believe where we are as a board are at with this. And I want to encourage all of you, because I did also emphasize the importance of them to speak to every board member. In particular, the two leaders of that committee, the governance study, Stephanie and Mahina. I've kept them informed of what I'd like to see out of this, and I think we should feel free to also share ideas on people and organizations that they should speak to as well, besides the list that they have compiled, and also be willing to offer suggestions of the kinds of questions that we think also should be asked. So again, I know that this is also an issue that key members of the legislature, especially the Senate president, would like to see us do. So I think the way we're rolling now is that it's not just our agenda, but it's an agenda that we're trying to reflect from the governor, the lieutenant governor, from the mayors, the legislators, DBED. All of those things are very, very important to demonstrate that we want to exist, we want to be an authority, but we also want to do it in an atmosphere, an environment where we're taking everyone's concerns and suggestions and demonstrating that in some areas we take the lead, in some areas we're going to be a partner, supportive, what have you. But this is a chance now to really put that on the table and do it in a way that we get all involved. So again, be expecting a call from Better Destinations to move forward. But I was happy that they reached out, they wanted to meet, and it was a meeting that went more than I had anticipated because of the nature of the questions. And I really wanted them to understand this is where we're at today. And this is what we hope to do going forward. That's my view, but we also need to hear from all 12 members of this board, as well as our officers here at HTA. That concludes my report. Is there any questions from the members? Stephanie?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add to the Tourism Day. One of the most important divisions that's coming to support that effort on Friday is the agricultural entities. And I want you to know today that the Hawaii State Farm Bureau, along with the Agricultural Development Corp., along with the Department of Agriculture, Aloon Farms, and our farms on the island of Kauai, are coming in with a full display to support Tourism Day in the effort that agriculture's food security is extremely important as we move forward in the legislature, as well as much as the tourism industry can continue to support agriculture, agriculture can turn around and become a voice for food security in Hawaii. So we are coming in, all 5 organizations will be there on Friday.
Stephanie, you've always been a champion and advocate. We appreciate that. We also appreciate the invitation we had to be part of Ag Day. So we thank you for your ongoing support. And I think, again, it shows the synergism with agriculture, with tourism. The more people see that we're working together collaboratively, it's a win-win situation all the way around. Mahalo.
And I want you to know that Kauai Cookie is making 500 bags of cookies to bring in. So you're going to have cookies to give out to everybody. Aloha.
Oh, my goodness. Here's the Cookie Monster coming.
Yep, we're coming. But we're excited about it as well, as we have been in the past. So we look forward to being there with you, and we have representatives from all areas of our agriculture division arriving that morning. So we have a pretty good presence. A lot of gifts to give away. So we hope everyone will come.
Great. Member Arcall.
All right, Chair Hanneman, I support the issues that you talked about, the 4 issues you talked about. And taking off on Steph's comment, last year, HLTA, HVCB, and HTA invited some of the major festivals, and she talked about the Kauai cookies. There was over hundreds of andagi served, and they and at Tourism Day. And I
That's
don't
right.
think they were invited this year, but I'm sure this afternoon they'll get an invitation. But that was a hit last year on Tourism Day. So to go along with your kawaii cookies. So
Done.
okay. The other issues, the three general issues, and I know we've addressed these before, but maybe we can put this on our radar for supporting Maui. And one would be the green fee issue. And you know, this is based on comments from Maui, the tourism industry, and they would support site-specific tourism fees, you know, to go visit someplace, and if a DLNR or the state has to maintain it or the county has to maintain it, yes, tourism fees are appropriate. But an overall tourism fee, so we hit our visitors and guests like a ATM. They're not supportive of that. So they're not supportive of green fees as a ATM, right? So, but they do support site-specific green fees. So maybe we can work on narrowing the legislation that way. The second thing would be perhaps we can work with the tourism industry on Maui on monitoring the South Maui Community Plan, right? Rebuilding. So that would be very important to, there is a seat at the table, you know, the mayor and the governor, all that, but HTA could take a lead role also. The third thing is supporting beach restoration projects. The comment was at Ka'anapali, they've been working with DLNR for around 10 years. I don't know if it's true. These are comments. All these three issues are comments that we can follow up on. And this is just input we're getting. But they've been working with DLNR for 10 years on a beach restoration projects for Ka'anapali. I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, that would bear looking into. And that's a statewide, as you know, Chair, that's a statewide issue. Waikiki has a lot of beach restoration projects, and HTA supporting that or getting into that or working with consultants, I think that would help on a statewide basis. So those are three issues that were raised from Maui visitor industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Arakawa. Let me talk about the green fee. So as you all know, and it's no secret, I've been a long time proponent of impact user fees. That if you collect a fee, it should be site specific. And whatever is collected should go back to that particular attraction, beach park, what have you. So the Hanama Bay model that I championed on the city council is something I keep bringing up over and over again. And I know that there's support for that type of model at the legislature in discussions that I've had. So I think right now, where we stand on it is obviously, you know, a blanket green fee is not what we would like to see as an industry, because where does it go? How many times it's going to be collected? Who's going to make sure that what is the intended purpose of it is actually going to happen? So a lot of questions are asked there. So I think they've moved off that. They're talking more about an environmental nexus. But again, we have to be very specific. So I think bills that are moving forward now are, some of them are continue to be of concern, because I think one of them has trying to raise the TAT in addition to that. And I think we have to take a position that there shouldn't be any more increase on the transit accommodation tax. Right now at 18%, and I say 18% because state often says 10.25%. It's 10.25 for the state, but there's also another 3% that they tacked on to give to the counties. So it goes up to 13.25. And then visitors pay the general excise tax. So that's another 4%. So it's 18%, and that's not even counting what they pay when they rent a car. So we probably are the most heavily taxed state in the country when it comes to extracting a fee from visitors and so forth. So that is something that we have to take a strong, solid position on, I believe. If you want to talk about a green fee or an impact user fee, we're open to that discussion. But we will have questions in terms of, so I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to weigh in with our thoughts and so forth. I want to say also with the beach restoration, I know HT has just launched something that we call Hikina Maui, where we have 3 pilot programs that address destination management, and it has to do with waterfalls, with beaches and so forth. So this could be an opportunity to use this pilot project to basically delve into other areas that require more resources, more collaboration, and the like. On the South Maui Community Plan, certainly what we've tried to do is keep in close contact with what the governor wants to do, what the mayor wants to do, and interact accordingly. So that's something that we can talk about in going forward. Did you have an additional?
Yeah, I just had 2 quick things, Daniel. For you mentioned the TAT, increasing TAT and fees. I just got some texts and there's been comments that our competition talks a lot about it. A competition from Mexico, South America, and other places. They compare us and they say, you know, come to our destination. We don't tax you as heavily as Hawaii does. And so it's a marketing tool against us, like you said, Mr. Chair. So that's number 1. Number 2, quick comment. That Hanauma Bay model has been great. It's been working for years. It's the best. And you probably had an excellent corp counsel that helped you work on that.
Yeah, I think he went to Punahou, and I think his name was Kavika Arakawa. Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to add to the discussion here. So relating to the various green fees and taxes, you know, from the board's early on, the board passed the resolution for us to continue to research, identify. There's so many bills with different combinations of issues. So we have been doing that as we see the bills. You know, some of them had minimums, and when we identified that those minimums are actually quite large of an impact for an individual or a local resident just staying at a small property here or one of the deluxe or standard level quality hotel accommodations. So we've been doing that research and continue to push that forward. And we're very specific also about the idea that transparency is very important. Where those fees will be going to be, how they'll be used, environmental remediation, specifically in the area they're going to be at, and ask for clarification every time on that as part of the bill once it becomes a law. Mahalo.
And let me just close by encouraging all our board members. You know, you all have friends, you all have relationships with those 76 members there. Please, now more than ever, utilize those relationships. We have a wonderful story to tell. We really do. And I know that because I'm talking constantly. It's not a day that doesn't go by I'm not communicating in some form with somebody there. Executive branch, legislative branch, in the administration and so forth. So this is the time period, right? Now to the end of April. We need all of you engaged. And if you have any questions, you want clarification of where we stand, myself, Daniel, Ilihia are at your beck and call. And so please feel free to call on us and we can provide additional clarification and so forth. So that concludes my report. If not any more questions, we now need to move to agenda item 8, and that's an update on the service of a destination stewardship contract by Kilohana, and the very articulate Tyler Gomes, I believe, is here. Ma kau kau. That's going to be the buzzword over here now.
Okay, aloha everyone. Thank you for having me. I've been asked to provide a presentation on 3 of the 5 programs in the contract. The first being visitor education and post-arrival marketing. These are the in-airport baggage claim ads, as well as other native ad placements, search engine optimization, social media. Just large-scale overview. We're well in advance of hitting the click-through rates KPIs for every single program. So engagement is higher than expected from when we initiated the contract. Impressions are measured against the KPI that ends this December of 2024. So it's hard to say where we are in that scale. But these are the general report on current impressions for all of those advertisements. We are in the process of proposing and getting locked in with Kalani for the 2024 Maui Recovery Plan funds that you folks allocated, the 300,000. It'll start with curated itineraries specific to Maui in areas other than West Maui. So it'll be framed as Go Paia, Go Wailuku, something like that. And then it'll have planned out sample itineraries, something like what you see on the left, to encourage local shopping, local dining activities. Again, to follow through with that idea that Maui is open, the economy is makakau, ready for visitors. We'll also be doing Malama Maui spots in social media format. These will be city guides. These will be sort of day in the life spots, again, driving traffic away from West Maui. And then right now we are working on Travel 808. Eva is one of our hosts, as well as Kamakapili. We're starting with Oahu. These will be 7 4-minute segments launching in March, and then we'll move on to developing videos for the rest of the state for each island. After that, these highlight activities: dining, responsible travel, volunteerism. I think we featured local breweries. Eva, is that what we did for downtown Honolulu? Eva did, to clarify, for the record, Eva did not partake in consuming any alcoholic beverages on the tour. Second program is quality assurance. Where it's at now, we've worked with, I think, over 100 different industry participants to create what might be the most inclusive, comprehensive accreditation program in the world. We don't even qualify for GSTC certification anymore because the program is so expensive. GSTC only considers a very limited set of sustainability criteria, so that's really great. Some of the challenges included scaling for larger businesses, a criteria that was able to assess a large business versus, some at-home commercial retailer making products in their home. So we've managed to do testing in the last 2 months to ensure that the criteria works at scale, no matter the size of the company. The 6 criteria categories it'll look like it'll shape up to our cultural support, environment, equity, safety, community, and guest experience. There's no requirement that they complete all 6. I think we've talked about that in the past, and then we'll incentivize participation for those who say achieve all 6, or if they'd like to participate in other HT activities, we may ask them to have 1 or 2 or more certifications under their belt. We'll likely make the announcement in May, announcing the rollout of the program. It'll be combination in-state, obviously trying to get people certified quickly. But what's also really big is the first year for these sort of programs is the most critical time in order to achieve awards and global recognition. And so we'll spend the next year trying to get as many eyes on the program as possible. That's not dependent on having a ton of participants, right? It's just dependent on those who issue these awards, seeing the breadth, scale, and depth of these criteria and recognizing and acknowledging it so we can build a strong brand around it. This is where we're at in it. The criteria and the testing are ongoing. Today's the end of February, so we can mark that complete. Branding and marketing is coming up next, and it should be announcement in May, with it going live in June. For the community funding opportunities under Umeke, this is a high-level summary of the amount awarded. We gave out $7.6 million, 164 awardees. Obviously, one of the questions we've had from many of the awardees was, in prior years, we received more. Why didn't we get the same amount this year? That's reflective of the total pot that was available. And given the high number of applicants we had, that translated into a high number of awardees for the community funding programs. And so there are programs who did not get as much as they got in years past. We've tried to explain that to them as clearly as possible. This is a breakdown by island, pretty proportional. I also can report that I had some additional research done yesterday on the breakdown. 92 of the 164 were previously funded. So we had 72 new programs that had never been funded before in this cycle. And of the 164, 33 are programs that didn't exist prior to this year. So a lot of new applicants with new things that hadn't been contemplated before. In terms of makeup of sort of the niche market that each of the programs targets, as you know, Resort Area Hawaiian Culture Initiative, Kukuloa, and Kahuaina will all necessarily target Native Hawaiians because that's the criteria for those awards. So if you just look at it like that, it'll skew as if Native Hawaiian programs were just outrageously funded against the rest. So if you adjust down and remove Reisi, Kukuloa, and Kahuaina, and you look at everything else, the breakdown for the 164, nature and agriculture was the highest at 23 programs. Sports came in at 21. Native Hawaiian cultural programs not in those three came in at 21. Culture programs for any of the other cultures came in at 17. So that's much more balanced than if you were to look at it in the raw form of programs that targeted Native Hawaiians. So far, 2024, these are some of the events that have already been completed. As you know, the awards went out after some of these events were done, so we were able to get contracts in place that acknowledged the fact that the January awards came out after, but that's all been resolved. So contracting for the remainder of the year is ongoing. And that sort of completes the presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members? Member
Quick-
Ching.
Yeah, quick question. Thank you. Looks great. What were the people that didn't get awarded? How maybe just a rough estimate of how many people followed up to see why, and how did that respond? How did you guys handle those responses?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, and I don't want to guess and be off, so I can get that to you. I can have it reported back to you about the number of people who did not receive awards reached out. But I think the standard answer has been that there's been a selection committee that's made up of a diverse number of individuals from across the community, prior people who have worked in these committees. There's representatives from HTA, Kilohana, HVCB, and based on the number of applicants, there just wasn't enough to go around, and so we had to make some really tough decisions. I mean, that's what went out in email form. I think we sent an explanation to every single denial, regardless of whether or not they preemptively reached out.
Sort of a question, but maybe also an observation. So I just wanted to say kudos to you because it's feeling much more mature. The program is obviously new, but just based on the data you're providing, just feels like it's starting to grow and become closer to, I think, what everyone envisioned. So congratulations for that. Relative to the Maui, I forgot what it was called. It was part of your presentation. Is that the on-site tourists?
Kina Maui, the East Maui stewardship programs.
Yeah. Is Kilohana involved in that, just in terms of?
No, that's a separate program with our destination managers on island.
The only reason I'm asking is just that it seems like it's relevant. I mean, there's synergy there that we should be tapping into. And again, more observation on this. I'm assuming you keep up with trends elsewhere. So as an example, I think there was an article recently about geisha in Japan, and I think they call them the geisha paparazzi, where people are, harassing them as they walk back from their workplace. And so the Japanese are getting much more involved in managing all of that. And I'm not saying that we have similarities here, but it's similar from the perspective of educating people and their approach to how they're going to do that. They're doing it in a very hospitable way, but anyway, I just observation that there's a lot of examples around the world of over tourism behavior of the visitor that maybe we could learn from as well.
So under the Visitor Education Post-Arrival Marketing Program, one of our subcontractors is Alchemy. They're a global trend tracking company. And so we got the first report for January. We're working with HTA to refine the scope of what they're tracking. The data set is only as good as the sources that are available. Part of that requires information for logins for social media. So I think we're trying to find a way to work with other entities who might be willing to share their logins. That's a huge trust issue. But at the same time, maybe we can make available to them information about those trends. But that's absolutely the stuff that we're tracking. I think the January report is a great example of what's to come. And I think maybe moving forward, maybe we might be able to share with the board what one of those reports looks like.
I'm sorry. I also wanted to say that, the related to the East Maui and the various stewardship programs. So our destination managers were actually on the selection committees for these community awards. So they had that mana'o when they went through their evaluation of similar related programs. Mhm.
I just want to add a comment to those that may not have received one of the grants this year. Part of it is the limitation on funding, as what was said by Tyler. So that's why it's important that you support us in our efforts to get additional funding at the legislature, because that will enable us to help more organizations. And it's always very regrettable when you cannot fund something to the amount that you would like to fund them, or someone doesn't get any funding at all. So our plan is to ask the legislature to give us $10 million more than we've gotten in the past. And if we get that, we can make a lot more people happy. And so I would ask those of you that are watching, or those of you that have an opportunity and have influence and know some of those legislators very well, please join us in helping HTA get that kind of funding so we can enhance these wonderful community programs to bring about some meaningful benefit for all of us.
Chair?
Okay, go
Yes.
ahead.
Chair?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't
Okay,
have
I
a
can't
question.
see you. I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you. I can't. Yeah, because the screen is on. Is that Director Tokioka? Yes. Hi, Director. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Thank you. I don't have a question, but I'd like to make a comment if I can. And just to say to Tyler and his entire team, the great job that they've been doing in the short amount of time, and also the willingness to work with Talon and Isaac on the structure of the accounting from one organization to the other. Thank you very, very much. And all of this while you're doing, many things throughout the state, and especially in West Maui. So it's incredible what you guys are managing to do with the organization. And I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm sure all of the board members feel the same way. Aloha, brother. Thank you, Chair.
I just wanted to add one last thing to put into context what Kilohana is doing right now in terms of the overall package. So in those community awards that Tyler showed at the very end, what makes us different in terms of these are award programs versus just straight out grants is we have wraparound services that we will be providing. Kilohana will present later once they start building out our technical assistance and capacity building. So for those who are not awarded, or those who are thinking about new projects going forward, they will participate in our technical assistance and product development type programs and have that support. That's not what you would have in some grant awardee foundation type of process. Just wanted to clear that up, and we'll have additional updates on that once everything flows with those products.
Yeah, so just kind of to put a capstone on this discussion, I really appreciate Kohil and Tyler making themselves available because let's face it, this is a new marriage. And there's still some questions out there all around the community. What are the intentions and what are we going to be doing with CNHA and the like? So the fact that we have solidified that relationship within HTA and now is an opportunity to continue to be transparent, be open, and show that it's working. And this is a commitment that we're making. So I think that needed to be said on the record, because every time I've called them, hey, there's an industry sector that has this concern. There's someone in the community has a concern. They've made themselves available. And I think it's helpful to have that kind of relationship because it helps us move the needle forward to demonstrate that this is going to be part of what we're doing, which is why we want to codify this relationship. Okay. Thank you, Tyler. We've now come to agenda item 10. This is agenda item 9. Presentation discussion of current market insights and conditions in Hawaii and key major Hawaii tourism markets. Jen?
Hi, everyone. First of all, for those of you out in Zoom land, the handouts for my presentation are posted on the website. And for those of you who are here, it's in the green packet or the handout. There has like my full presentation along with the market insights and the dashboards for the month of January. So I am giving you an abbreviated presentation today. So thank you. So what we see for the month of January, we see declining arrivals or the arrivals and expenditures are both lower than 2023. So if we look at January expenditures, they are higher than the dark blue bar, which is 2019, but they are lower than the turquoise looking bar, which is 2023. And then arrivals continue to be lower than both 2023 and 2019. So when we look at it by the market, we see that expenditures overall are lower, except for Japan and Canada, which are higher than 2023, but still lower than 2019 for those two markets. Looking at per person per day spending, we do see higher per person per day spending, but it's a volume kind of equation. So we look at the visitor arrivals, yes, Japan is up compared to last year, but when you look at the overall volume of people on the average daily census, it is lower. So when you do the math, the expenditures will turn out lower. Looking at islands, so if you look at the island of Oahu, they had higher expenditures than 2019, but not for 2023. So the only islands that were really higher than 2023 for the month of January were Kauai and Hawaii Island, which continues to benefit from some of the lack on Maui. Looking at, visitor arrivals for the islands, the only island that really had more visitor arrivals for the month of January than the other months was for Oahu. Looking at hotel performance, we put out this report last week. January ended at 75.4% occupancy and a $378 ADR, which was lower than 2023. But because the occupancy was slightly higher, basically it's flat for RevPAR. For the vacation rental market, we did see, again, lower occupancy for vacation rentals with a slightly higher ADR, $3 higher than last January. And again, I call your attention to the demand charts, way more demand for hotels than there are for vacation rentals. Looking at collections for transit accommodation tax. So in the month of January, the Department of Taxation for the state collected $82.7 million. So if you look at the chart on the bottom, that orange line there shows you how that compares to other months. And so because December had a lot of activity, the amount that they collected for January is significant. That being said, fiscal year TAT collections for 2024 are still a little bit behind prior fiscal year, 4.7% down and 23.9 million behind. Looking at the seats, There were fewer seats overall in January 2024 than there were in 2023, and also lower than 2019. February, we had slightly more seats because we had an increase in international seats in February, but going into March and April, we do see this additional increases in international seats. Looking forward, so this is the 6-month air ticket booking pace for all markets. And, for the month of February, which we just finished, it was behind, March is behind, April is, and it's going into July. So in the next couple weeks, we'll see further into the summer. But looking at the US again, lagging pre-pandemic booking pace, although it gets a little tighter in the summer. Japan, this is what Japan looks like. It is looking a little bit better in the summer. And then here's Canada. Korea is doing better in July than they did, or at this time pre-pandemic in 2019, what's on the books for ticket sales. So that's it. That's the short presentation. There's a lot more detail in the deck where it has, the ticket booking, whether it was travel agency or direct and all that, and also where people are coming from. So that's in the packet if you're interested.
Are there any questions for Jen?
I have a quick question, Jen.
Sure.
So can you explain that the component of your report on Japan where it's better in terms of arrivals, but is the fact that it's down in terms of in the aggregate in terms of spending based on number of seats in the market? Is that a byproduct of that?
So it's a better in terms of arrivals for January compared to January of 2023. However, yes, it has to be because there's more seats. Because in January 23, if you recall, there was a lot less service, right? But again, significantly down from where we were in January 2019.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions for Jen? Members, any questions for Jen?
I
Daniel?
don't have a question, but I do have a comment. And that is, we have to be very clear that January is down again. Is down.
Yes.
This will make 6 months in a row. 6 months, because it was 5 in December.
Yeah.
That we've been having difficult times with arrivals and total expenditures.
Ever since August, so
yes,
going into the following month. So yes, so I can't blame it all on the Maui fires, but it has been a consistent trend since then. Yes, correct.
Yeah, and we've talked about those economic conditions, et cetera. So it really shows that there's need for continued marketing and management to increase demand, stabilize demand. I think that's a very important word to say, both at balancing it with our international markets who are higher spending visitors with our US market as well.
Absolutely.
And meetings, conventions.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And that's what we've been saying here. This is not the time because of lack of resources, what have you, that we stop doing what we're doing. More so, we got to be very active in that marketplace. Major competition out there. And we can't let what has happened on Maui and the financial crisis that the state is facing with some of the obligations we have and the like stop us from doing. This is the economic revenue generator in the state. It's just the industry. So you can see it right now, the trends. It's going to continue. The spring looks pretty soft as well. So it's not good news, but we have a plan. And that plan says we need to continue to market and manage it in such a way. Remember, Yasado?
Yeah, I actually just completely concur with that. And maybe pointing out the obvious, but adding more capacity and seats doesn't necessarily translate into better results, right? So it completely solid line back to marketing, awareness, promoting the destination.
Absolutely.
I agree with that, that more seats doesn't mean more people on the planes. However, that is the opportunity limit. We can't have more people arrive than there are seats on the planes.
There you go.
But I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is you have capacity, you're not filling the capacity.
Yes.
So that's not our problem right now.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. We now move to agenda item 10. Report and update by the Budget Finance and Convention Center Standing Committee of their meeting held on February 20, 2024. Member our call.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have two items to vote on, and we have a number of items that were on the committee agenda that affect the budget and our legislative proposals at the legislature. So I'll go quickly through the items and the status that we talked about that affect our budget at the legislature. The first is a status. Now, I'll call it A, status of use of the Tourism Emergency Fund. A report was presented, a very good report, and that's in the materials. So thank you, Daniel and Isaac and staff for that report, and people can look at that online, right? Okay.
Yes, plus I also updated in my CEO report this morning as well.
Okay, thank you. Next item B, we'll go quickly, Mr. Chair, okay? Because everything is online. Well, most of this is online. Status of response to the House Tourism Chair Quinlan's review comments on the fiscal year 2024 operating budget. It took several months for the board to receive this from staff, and it took several months for staff to respond to Chair Quinlan. And the response to Chair Quinlan, the board didn't review it before it went out. So that is something we'll be working on in the budget committee going forward. And later on, we can talk about process when we receive budget questions from the legislature and how that's handled. Item C, it's an update on campaign effectiveness, cost benefit ratio, and ROI, return on investment, for the incremental budget requests. These incremental budget requests were based on the Maui wildfire. And so a table was prepared, a very good table. So thank you again, Daniel, Isaac, and staff. Very informative, and that's in the materials online. Item D, status of HTA past due accounts. Mr. Chair, pleased to report that when we first started on this, there were over $4 million in arrears. We're up to date right now, and we're current. And the staff, Daniel and Isaac, have implemented policies and procedures to pay all of our invoices on time. So we're doing excellent in that item. Item E, status of contracts and payments for the incremental requests. So that we need to work on. This pertains to the August 13th wildfire. We still have not completed some of the contracts for those incremental, well, as of that date, as of the date.
I reported this morning that all completed.
Okay, all contracts completed. So some of the work has been completed too, so we got to pay on those invoices, right? So good. Between the past week, we completed all those contracts. F, status of employment contracts and bonuses, and I think the admin committee will report on that. Item G is a status of communication on any outside requests about the budget, including the legislature. And we talked about that, establishing a policy and practice. Just quickly, I see Jessica Lani Rich in the audience, or I saw her in the audience. And there was an article this past week about the funding for the visitor program, visitor assistance program. So to the extent that that affects our budget, perhaps we should work closer with her, or we should know about that. And so if there are any legislative requests for funding, we can look into that. Item H is status and discussion on travel policies and procedures. Mr. Troy provided some information, but he's going to follow up information on, who travels, where, purpose. I think we have a good reporting program, Mr. Chair. So they report after they come back from travel. So that's a good thing. Item I is contract modification policies and procedures. I think we're working on that right now. This came about because we had a situation where the consultant was not complying with the requirements of the contract, and somebody suggested then just waive the requirements of the contract. So we're not going to do that, right? So we're going to figure out ways to work with the vendors so that they comply with the contract so we can pay them. I is status and discussion on unused funds in the Tourism Special Fund. Again, a good report was presented by our staff. So that's all in order. It's online. And the last thing we're going to look into for next meeting is the 2023-2024, our budget. So, and that's the one we're currently in. We have, 4 more months left, but the status on that. So that's it for those matters relating to the budget. So, and that's just reporting. So right now, we're going to go to item A on the agenda, item A on the agenda, and that is Isaac, your presentation. It's a report and update on the Budget, Finance, and Convention Center Standing Committee, and the discussion and action on HTA's financial report for January 2024. So I'll make a motion to approve the HTA's financial report for January 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Now we're in discussion, explanation, discussion. Mr. Choi.
Thank you. Chair, I just want to say that Chair Arakawa is working so hard to point out all our shortcomings. And we've been working on all his little suggestions. He seems to be coming up with more and more every single week. But we at HTA, we welcome those criticisms. We take it very seriously, and hopefully we're getting the information that we want. And Chair Arakawa, I just want to say that the answers that we give you, we spend a lot of time to make sure that and of course the board knows that we take these suggestions very, very seriously, and we want to give you serious responses. And in fact, some of the criticism that you did bring up led to policy changes, procedural changes, and we've implemented those things. So I don't really want to thank you for doing this.
But you know what? We won't get questions from the legislature on those issues.
Okay, so I'm going to stand by the financial statements that were approved by the committee. It's just our standard financial statements. The only thing I like to note that on the first page, if you notice that now Talon Kishi is now certified CPA now, and I really welcome that. He finished his educational requirements to obtain that particular credential. He can now hold himself to be a CPA. So the discussion at the finance level at HTA is now at a very, very high level. Yeah, we both have a public accounting experience. We're both auditors and accountants. So that's it.
But you still need 3 more positions in. Right?
Chair,
Say it on the record.
younger positions, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Good.
you.
Now it's on the record.
Yeah, now it's on the record.
Okay, thank you.
Not the gray hair kind.
So the reports are attached, Mr. Chair, to the both the committee report and this report. So are there any questions from the board members, either present or online? Doesn't appear to be. Okay, any questions from the audience? Okay, none heard. So at this time, Ilya, can we take the vote? Roll call vote?
Chair Hanman,
Aye.
Vice Chair Paishan is excused. Member Agas,
Aye.
Mahalo, Member Arakawa,
Aye.
Member Ching,
Aye.
Member Yona. We can't hear you, but you can signify your vote.
Thumbs up.
Maybe thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
Okay, thumbs up. Member McCully is excused. Member Menard McNamara.
Aye.
Mahalo, Member Miyasato.
Aye.
Member Tokioka is, I believe he has departed. Yep. Member Tokioka is excused. Member White is excused. Member Zane.
Aye.
Motion carries. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the discussion and action on the Hawaii Convention Center's January financial report, January 2024 financial report, and update on the Hawaii Convention Center's 6-year repair and maintenance plan. Before that, I want a quick yes or no or big thumbs up or what on the HCC audit, Hawaii Convention Center audit. So, Mr. Choi, do you have a report?
It's a little bit premature. Yesterday,
Oh, sorry.
Yesterday, Chair, we did get a draft of the HCC audit for 6/30/2023. I have it here. I'm reviewing it right now. It's a clean opinion. So we'll be reporting that in the future.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that. It was good news, so sorry, Mr. Chair, I thought good news, right? So, okay, Terry, okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Convention Center's January 2024 financial report and update on the Convention Center's 6-year repair and maintenance plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. So now we're in discussion. So Ms. Orton, can you please present explanation and some
Absolutely,
of the.
and I will be brief since we went through this in our budget finance. Good morning, everybody, or almost good afternoon. I am reporting on January financials. Let's see here. Okay. Sorry, we're having a little technical difficulty here. Okay, there we go. All right, so during the month of January, the Convention Center hosted 15 license events, which were equal to what we had budgeted. Good job, Noel, on forecasting that. They included one citywide sporting event, which was a very big event for us, the Trans-Pacific Volleyball Championships, and also the remaining of the events were local events. As shown in the first column here, on the far left, total facility revenue for the month exceeded 1.2 million. And then taking our revenue for the month of January and adding it to the remainder of the year for our reforecast in the middle 3 columns, you can see in the second column here, we are projecting that by the fiscal year end in June, total facility gross revenue will be reaching $25 million, which is the highest we've ever hit. Which includes 1.5 million in interest income, which is listed in other income there, with a net loss of 186,400 versus our budgeted gross revenue of 18.5 million with a net loss of 5.3 million. As mentioned previously, we are on trend to forecast and save the state 5.1 million. I think we probably we're heading in the direction of breaking even at this point. Our food and beverage revenues are coming in a lot stronger than we anticipated. Noel's crystal ball is we're going to break even by June. So we hope to continue on that strong trend during our next fiscal year as well and breaking records. In totality, we hosted about 220 local events in addition to the 20 citywide events. I can honestly say that I'm starting to see a lot more traction from the Visitor Bureau team. So thank you to Tom and Lynn and everybody on the Visitor Bureau. We're starting to see a lot more short-term interest in citywide events. I can say in 2026 onward, at least speaking for 2026, a year ago, we only had 2 events and we have 5 citywide events now. So hopefully that trend continues with short-term pickup. I certainly do see a lot more site inspections and a lot more leads coming through. So hopefully we can get a few more of those events on the books for 2026 onward. Any questions for financials before I move on?
Excuse me, Chair. I just want to point out, this is super good, you know.
Nah.
Nobody seems to be applauding. This is super
Very
good, okay?
That's why.
Now we have
The timing is right for the naming rights.
Okay, okay.
I'll keep saying it over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah,
That would
yeah.
definitely help us.
Hey, Mr. Chair, she did say we're on course to make a record-setting year, so that's really good news.
Yes. And I did want to also say, I mean, that's that's a really good win for us, but the contributing factor is really what this does to the overall economic impact for the state. So, that being said, the 20 citywides will generate 370.3 million in economic impact for the state. And also just the offshore business running through the center currently, by June will generate 43.3 million in tax revenue. So that's a huge contribution to general fund on behalf of the convention center, and the visitor bureau team. So that's the true win, right? Okay. Here on the slide, you can see here that for every dollar spent currently to date, and this is fiscal year to date, we are returning $15.33 with the 11 citywides. As you can see there, the running total of citywides that we have serviced here at the convention center. We have 9 left to go from now till June. So we're extremely busy servicing those citywide events. The next one checking in this weekend. We have NDIA checking in on Saturday, and that's roughly about 1,700 delegates for that group. I'm just going to breeze through these. Are recent events that we hosted. This is upcoming, and as I said, NDIA checking in this Saturday. It's a science and technology conference, roughly about 1,700 attendees. Carbon offset program, as you can see here, the number of trees that we have planted. Still, we have people continue to participate in this. Any questions on the financials before I turn it over to Mari to update on repairs and maintenance? Anything online? Let's see here. Nope. Okay, so I will turn this over to Mari to update you on repairs and maintenance for the building.
Good morning. Thanks, Sarah. Good morning, members of the board. We're just showing you some photos of some of the recent projects that we have completed here at the center. And one of them is the introduction of a lot of new food and beverage equipment. So yeah, I was going to point out that, these new tables are what we're using currently. And this is how the presentation looks now for meetings in-house. So these are the new Magogo banquet tables and stations, and they are able to do different configurations. They also have new coffee dispensers and new beverage dispensers. And then back of house, we have about a little over 30 transformers in the building. We have replaced 4 this past few months, and that will translate into very good energy savings for us. We also are working with Hawaiʻi Energy on credits for that project. So we, of course, tackled the transformers that are giving us issues or have, very loud buzzing, but we will slowly be moving through replacement of the transformers in the building. Another big improvement was the replacement of all the ballroom wallpaper. So this is our main ballroom up on the 4th floor. If you can imagine, over time, we've had some damages. And so we replaced it, and we did a kind of an operational move here. So we're using the wallpaper that's used in the meeting room so that it's easier for us to manage on the back of the house as far as inventory. One of the other big improvements that we have put in, and it was installed just in time in early February, was the enhancement to our security camera system. And so these are cameras that are looking basically out of the building, as opposed to the initial project was focusing internal to the building. And just in time, because Terry, you want to elaborate?
We reported at the Budget Finance Committee meeting that we had some vandalism, which has been a reoccurring challenge for us here at the center. It was primarily started when DLNR was in-house, and we weren't sure if it was tied to, claims that, were still in the process of being handled. But somebody was driving past our building and slinging 1-inch metal ball bearings into our windows. We've replaced probably upwards to 150, almost $200,000 worth of windows right now. They're anywhere from 20 to 25,000, depending on where the glass is. The higher up it is, the more expensive it is because we need cranes to replace it. These windows are 500 pounds each. We've looked at other solutions to put a film on it, but if there is a film put on it and someone shatters the window and it will fall in one piece, more dangerous than it just shattering. So we're leaving it as is. We've installed these cameras, as Mari said, right in time because we just had one of our windows vandalized. Someone did drive by a few weeks ago, and we were able to capture them on camera. We got the license plates, the make, the model, the time, and we've turned all this evidence over to the police department to investigate. So we have heard back from them. I guess there isn't enough evidence for them to really accuse and open and close this case. So I'm probably going to see if we can call someone at the mayor's office to push them along in investigating a little more, because they have not even tried to contact the owner of the vehicle that we suspect did the damage. So hopefully we can push this along to at least create awareness that, you know, we were aware that this individual drove past our building. It's kind of is what it is right now, but you know, those cameras are working. There was enough clarity. Like I said, this happened at 2 a.m. So there was enough clarity to pick up the color, make, model, and license plates number. We were able to see someone winding down the window in the passenger side and something orange sticking out of the window. We couldn't make out what it was. But at the same time that happened, the glass shattered on our building. So we basically gave all this evidence to the police department, and hopefully something will come out of it. That's where we are now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so this is the next 2 slides are our spreadsheets for our 6-year plan and the cash flow. And then beyond that is a highlight of our major projects that we're working on. So we're working through the painting of the exterior of the building, Isaac's Peck project. But it is a big project. And again, we're very pleased to have a contractor who's working very closely with us, especially to work around the event schedule that we have and to expedite how they're gonna basically approach the building. So right now, we're still in the scheduling. It looks like we're gonna start on this side of the building first, and then we're working through paint colors and samples on that. The chiller replacement project is going along very well. So we're in the process of preparing for, at the end of March, the new chillers will come in. So that's when the crane comes, and it'll load in the 2 new chillers, and then we have it also scheduled to come back in May if everything goes well. So then we should be close to the completion of that. And again, another big improvement to our utilities and you know, improvement on sustainability in the building. LED lighting upgrade. So we awarded the contract, and we had 2 good proposals come in, but we've been looking at new fixtures. And again, this would be a big improvement to the building in regards to utility usage. So our next step here is they'll be setting up a mock-up room so we see firsthand exactly how these new lights are going to be impacted in the different rooms. Escalator modernization project is moving along. We're still in the procurement stage on this. So we had a decent amount of 5 contractors come in and interested in this project. So we've entertained 3 different site visits, you know, because they just want a better look. So we're preparing for proposals to come in March. And also then we have solicitation out for actually the first 2 qualifications for the architect firms have come in. And this is, we are approaching several projects on a design bid build approach, as opposed to design build with some of our other projects. So this is why we are going to be hiring and having on board a couple architect firms to help us with these design bid projects. And also then the food and beverage equipment, the proposals came in, so we're evaluating that. And then those proposals, and then parapet roof repairs, that RFP went out this week. Okay,
And the remaining projects are just priority projects on these last a few slides that are in your packet, and then of course, projects that we've completed over the past couple of years.
Okay, and these are fully discussed at the committee level, so people can review the committee minutes also. And these are part of the materials. So are there any questions by any of the board members? None. None we can see. Any questions by members of the online audience? None? Okay, Mr. Johnson, can we please have a roll call vote on the approval of the Convention Center January 2024 financial report and update on the Convention Center's 6-year repair and maintenance plan?
Chair Hanneman?
Aye.
Vice Chair Paishan is excused. Member Agas?
Aye.
Member Arakawa?
Aye.
Member Ching?
Hi.
Member Yona?
Aye.
Member McCully is excused. Member Minor McNamara?
Aye.
Member Miyasato is excused. Member Tokioka is excused. Member White is excused. Member Zane?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Turning the agenda back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, item 11, we are not going to have that on our agenda today. Mr. Hoffman could not make it, so we'll reschedule for a future date. Members, we've been going nonstop for 2 hours, so I'm going to suggest we take a pause for the cause and get to some maybe needed texts and phone calls that you need to make. We'll take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene, and all we have is 1, 2, 3 more items before we call it a day. Okay? Let's take a brief recess, 10-minute recess.
On Zoom again.
Members, I'd like to reconvene the meeting. Okay, it's 11:45. I'd like to call this meeting back to order. We are now going to go to item number 12, agenda item 12. Presentation and discussion regarding the update of the meetings, conventions and incentives, market activity and PACE report, and Hawaii Convention Center activity and local sales.
Aloha. Good morning.
Hi.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can everyone see that? There we go.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, great. Let me know when you're ready to get started.
Go ahead. Please
Okay.
proceed.
Mahalo. Good morning. I'm looking forward to reporting today on January. We had a very robust year in 2023, and looking forward to telling you some of the activities that have taken place in January. First of all, I just want to go back to some of the questions that we had in the January meeting. There were some questions about repeat versus new business. So we did a deeper dive on 24 and 25. Of the 16 events in 24, the new business was 75% versus repeat was 25. And in 2025, the new business represented 47% and repeat was 53%. As we move into these years and are looking at futures, it is our goal to always increase that repeat business. It helps us to garner those repeat rotations. If we service these groups that are coming in, we can really have a successful future. Always excited to go after Terry, especially after her report today. We've got so many exciting momentum behind us and looking forward to growing that repeat business. And the way we're going to do that, a big thank you to Daniel, Ross, and Eva for helping us push forward the funding for the new position. That just went through. We have been posting it. We have actually several candidates that we're looking at right now. That position is not officially hired, but we are getting there. We did hire my replacement. The East Coast position was just filled with Tom Castamont, who comes from us from the Hilton Hawaiian Village. He is actually in market in Florida and will be representing the East Coast and Europe. His start date is April 8, and that is because of the partnership we share with Hilton. We wanted to give them enough time. If any of you all, I know it's a very close community, see Duke, Debbie, or Charlene, please reach out to them and thank them for their partnership. I think this is going to work great for the destination. It'll be a really, really easy transition. Tom has worked with our team for several years, so we're very excited about that. Single property sales, we just welcomed Lori Ihara February 20th last week. We're already seeing positivity and momentum from her in her new role leading the single property sales efforts. As you know, Adele retired in December of last year, so Lori is jumping right in to fill that void until the West Coast seller position is filled. This week, I think I've received 5 or 6 resumes. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely picking up. So hopefully, in my next board report, we'll have a lot more good news to report on these staffing. Client services, our team there continues to interview for a coordinator and client services manager. We've had a lot of great interviews and a lot of interest. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to close that out and make a decision. And again, hope to report that to you at our next meeting. On the road, in January, we had several different initiatives to share. Professional Convention Management Association, Convening Leaders, is an organization that really promotes, is a global organization that brought in about 5,000 attendees. 53% of those attendees are meeting planners. And we had some great events that we participated in with, and Terry was in town as well. So it really showed our partnership, and we celebrated some successes in 2023 with some of our most recent clients that we contracted. We also, through our North Star strategic partnership, participated in an independent planner education conference. This conference brings together independent planners that are not affiliated with the larger like Conference Direct and Helms Briscoe. Had a lot of great appointments and received a couple of leads from that initiative. Haichia-san is one of our very strategic Meet Hawaii players in Japan. He conducted an HCC, Hawaii Convention Center presentation for incentive organizers through our strategic partnership with HIS. That consisted of about 80 attendees, about 50% split between HIS salespeople and corporate meeting planners. That took place in January. Haichia-san is also on the board of Hawaii Kai Workshop, which is an organization based in Japan and meets quarterly all over Japan. It consists of wholesalers in the Japanese market and also stakeholders with the hotels that come together like Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt to collaborate. A highlight on some of the activations that took place with Site Global, Society for Incentive Travel Excellence, one of our key strategic partnerships that helps to deliver and focus on bringing incentive business to our islands, which you know is about 28% of the business that we look forward to receiving. They not only distributed an ebook, but we hosted a webinar last month, and we'll have another one in March. The ebook is still being distributed, and I understand that I'll have those final numbers to report to you in my next presentation. The webinar consisted of about 170 attendees representing 33 countries. It was focused on Malama activities in Maui, and again, moving the message towards resilience versus recovery. It was well received, and we're looking forward to conducting a lot of these different webinars to the incentive market over the next 11 months. Sales production updates citywide and single property. Citywide production. Let's just go over the definition. Sales production, new events and room nights booked in the year and for any future year. Consumption is on the books and events and room nights in the year they occur. As we look at these numbers, I just want to remind everyone about our booking cycles. As I reported last month, we had a very successful 2023. We've been short some team members, so we're gonna build up some of that momentum moving forward. But truly, in our booking cycles, June 30th and December 30th tend to be high contracting times. So it's normal to have a bit of a slump as you start the first month out in January. Clients and sellers align with the strategy to wait for each quarter and each half year to sign contracts. So these numbers do not concern me. I already am aware of several tentative bookings. As Terry reported, our team is on the citywide has really sent through a lot of different MFFs. We're meeting with clients, submitting proposals. So I'm not concerned about these numbers at all. Future pace, consumption and arrivals. This report is showing pretty much the same. Since we didn't have a lot of momentum in January, this is really what I reported on it last month as well. I do know that we have several groups that are going to confirm for 2024, which I really believe by the end of the year, 24 will be at 100%. 26 is still, it's still a concern, and it's really, we're waiting on the messaging from Terry and the convention center and the planning and the timeline for that construction. She is working very hard to implement that out. We're not concerned, but it is a reason 26 is a little bit lower. And of course, with the short-term booking cycle, we continue to build up 24, 25, and you know, some of these earlier years. I'm not concerned right now at all about the future years because of the short-term booking cycle. I also want to report Andrew Ko and his team. Japan, even though we're in a downturn for leisure, they are really seeing an increase in group demand. Daido, who's going to be with us in August, was with us last year, reported 3,000 rooms last year, and they're looking to bring in anywhere from 600 to 7,500 attendees this August. We also just contracted a group for 25. I can't disclose the group, but out of Japan, which is going to bring in about 2,500 attendees. There's a lot of great tentatives that we're looking to close, and it's going to be an exciting year. Again, not much movement in this report. We are focused on always bringing more events and monitoring how many events are in the building. In Terry's report, I believe we had 20 that are forecasted in the HCC fiscal year. As you know, HVCB is on a calendar year, HCC is on a fiscal year. So we will be working to get those numbers in again by December. Single property production. We're kind of in the same situation with single property. You can see that we have still a strong amount of tentatives that are coming out there. It's always great to see that we're building our funnel as we try to move these groups forward. Future pace for single property. Again, the short-term cycle for single property is strong. We do need to work on building 24 and 25. Our strategic partnerships are really going to help this team to drive more business to the islands. So we're looking forward to seeing that grow. Single property really is our biggest way to drive short-term business into the destination on all islands. And here's our single property production per island. We reviewed this slide for the first time last month. You can see right now we only have definite rooms for 567 rooms in Maui. I was curious, so I pulled year over year for 2023, and we were around 1,000 definite rooms in January 2023 as we moved into the year. So again, strong tentative rooms will help us. It gives us more to confirm and convert into those contracts. I believe with the positions that we're filling, the interviews that we're having, we should be fully staffed. My goal is by April at the latest, maybe May for some of the additional ones where we are just starting to interview. But we have a lot of exciting things happening, and I look forward to reporting on them as we move down the road. Any questions?
Questions? Member Arkall.
Yes, Lynn, thanks for the report. And I understand we hopefully will get funding for the roof repair. So I understand you're working with our convention center staff and Miss Orton, on late 25, early 26 construction dates. So I understand you guys are working on that, correct?
Absolutely, yes. Terry and I meet every Friday and review everything. We meet with our teams, our local team and our team work together. That seems to be the target right now. We just need to once we get that confirmed and we can send that message to clients, it's really going to make a big difference. We have some verbal definites in 26 that we're kind of a little bit leery about moving forward with, because we don't want to bring them in and then have to, you know, have them go a different direction.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lynn.
No, thank you.
Any other questions from members? Seeing none, thank you, Lynn, for a very good report. Like I said, this is one of the good news action items that we discuss at our meetings, just how well we're doing with the convention center. So appreciate everything you and Terry are doing to continue to move this forward. And Tom, of course, Mullins, the head of HBCB, we like his fact that he's also strongly supporting these initiatives. So thank you very much.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Thank you for your time.
Members, we now move to agenda item 13, which is a report and update by the Administrative Audit Standing Committee of their meeting held on February 21, 2024. Unfortunately, committee chair, member Mike White could not be here today. So as the vice chair, I will shoulder that responsibility and talk first about item A, which is an update on the legislative audit. So as you know, this is something that is very top of mind. That is, we are required to do, and obviously working with Les Kondo, who came, I believe, to the last meeting, and there was an opportunity for the board to engage in some discussions. Post that discussion, I took it upon myself to also have a meeting with Mr. Kondo, and I asked the vice chair of our board, Mahina, to join me in that meeting. I just wanted to have a better understanding of what this audit entails, and also to be able to clarify a process that we, as the authority, are going to be able to put in place where it's understood from his end as well as our end on how this process is going to proceed and go forward. So we've had a really good meeting with our president and CEO, with Isaac, Mahina, and myself as chair, to put this process in place. And I believe it's going to make for a very coordinated and well-executed plan that entails also consultation with member Arakawa as the chair of the budget committee, and member White as the chair of the audit committee. So all hands are on board. We are prepared to participate and cooperate, but that does not mean we will not have questions and concerns that we will raise on a timely basis. And it will be clear that in our cooperation to fulfill what they need to be done, we also as an authority are prepared to stand up and clarify issues that need clarification, or if in fact there's going to be a disagreement about what the findings are. This is not my first rodeo in dealing with audits. I did it before when I was at the city and as a director of DBED, and even my capacity now in running a private nonprofit group. So it's a give and take. And I think the one thing that I'm going to stress is that we be transparent, we be open, and certainly the questions that will be asked, as long as it's consistent with our belief of how an audit should be conducted as well, then I think we're in a good place. So those meetings have been held. Daniel has been tasked to do the follow-up discussions with Mr. Kondo. Then he brings it back to the ranch. And I've said to also Mr. Kondo, you have my number. You can feel free to call me as the chairman of the board if you feel that you need further clarification, what have you. I'm available. Vice chair is available. So this is really going to be a total team effort as we go forward, and we're going to keep the board fully apprised of what we're doing, as well as working with staff. So, President, you want some words you want to add to that?
I just wanted to add that I also had a meeting following up to go over the process with Auditor Kondo on Friday of last week. And but more importantly is we actually are in the process, deep into the process. We've delivered requested paperwork. Staff have been interviewed. We're doing as others have been identified for interviews tomorrow as well, and continuing and reviewing files and requested documents.
Yes, we are definitely in the process, and I'm pleased that everything that's been asked so far of the HTA, you folks are helping, especially with the interviews that they're conducting. So forth. That's really good that we're being prompt about that. Member Arcal.
Yes, thanks for the update, and it's good to know that we're cooperating with the audit. Some of us have audit experience, right? And I understand that as Chair Hanneman talked about, we may have some questions and clarifications, and Daniel will be writing whatever questions or clarifications that we have back and forth with the auditor. Is that correct? That's correct.
Well, I think what I would like to see, and Daniel's agreed to, is that we certainly will be able to consult with our team here.
Yeah.
And that letter will be jointly reviewed by all of those that are in a position to add to that, or because of their membership of chairing a certain committee and a subject matter committee. But certainly we would welcome all members, of course, of the board to chime in and to share what they would like to see as well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up question, clarifying question?
Member
Sorry.
Miyasado.
Thank you. The nature of the audit isn't just fiscal, right? It's also administrative. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a management audit as well.
Okay, thank you.
As a clarification, Mr. Kondo did say that there is no financial aspects to this particular audit. It's a 100% management and performance. Yeah, he stated in the, I must have watched his videotape many times, and he said it was a performance audit, not a financial audit.
So members, in short, I really believe we're in a better place today. He also, to his credit, said his number is available to us to also call him, and I will exercise that judiciously when I feel I need to make the call. But basically, our point person is our interim president CEO in dealing with Mr. Kondo, and that's clearly understood. Okay. Now, let's move on to the next item here, and that's discussion action on amending the employment agreements for the Chief Administrative Officer, Chief Brand Officer, and Public Affairs Officer to remove performance bonus provisions. So let me say, with respect to this particular topic, I think there's been several levels of understanding and knowledge, I guess that's the best way to put it, of how these bonus performance provisions were put in place. So I, as your chair, relatively new chair, wanted to know more about it as well. And I sat on the right committee to ask those questions, because with Chair White, that is the committee that basically has responsibility over this. So there's been several discussions that have taken place, and I'm pleased to bring to the board today that I'm prepared to entertain a motion that would amend the performance bonus provisions for the CAO, CBO, and the PEO officers. So I would like to entertain a motion and a second, and then we can go into discussion. May I have a motion?
I'll move, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Motion is moved by Member Arcal. You have a second?
I second it.
Second by Member Miyasado. So I want to acknowledge that to the credit of these three individuals, they actually came forward and said that they were willing to suspend the bonus provisions and to remove it from their contracts. So I just wanted to say that up front. There was nothing that we had to talk to them or be able to say, you know what, so people at the legislature are asking this question, or this is not the time, so forth. They took the first step. And I'm very, very appreciative. It shows a spirit of cooperation here and the understanding, even though these were agreements that were executed and approved by the board, by prior administration, if you will. They recognize that that this was probably the right thing to do at this time. So I wanted to say that up front. Any other questions, thoughts? That being said, can we take a vote? Leah, please call for the vote.
All right, Chair Hanneman.
Aye. Aye.
Vice Chair Paishan is excused. Member Agas.
Aye.
Member Arakawa,
Aye.
Member Ching,
Aye.
Member Yona,
Aye.
Member Macaulay is excused. Member Menor McNamara,
Aye.
Member Miyasato,
Aye.
Member Tokioka is excused. Member White is excused. Member Zane.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Last item of the day. Hey, we're gonna finish in good time here. Okay, so this is a recommendation and action on the assignment of a new chair for the Branding Standing Committee. As you know, I have been the chair of the Branding Standing Committee, ably assisted by Member Zane as the vice chair. And I really believe, and I hope you would agree with me, that I need to step down as the chair of the committee. Because you guys gave me choke out of things that I gotta do. This is a very important committee. Okay, let me be really clear. As we move towards destination stewardship, destination management, we can't forget our marketing responsibilities and objectives. We need to continue to make sure that the right kind of traveler is coming to Hawaii, filling those planes, staying at our accommodations, enjoying our attractions, and of course, buying local, shopping local, taking local things back with them. That being said, I'd like to make a motion that Blaine Miyasato replace me as chair of the branding committee. Need not talk about his qualifications, what have you. Definitely qualified and to do this responsibility position and still have Member Zane as the vice chair there. So the motion is to have Member Miyasato be the new chair of the branding committee. I make the motion. May I have a second?
So move.
So moved. Okay. Second.
Second.
Second by. Okay. Ilya, you got who moved and seconded? Okay.
Okay, Chair.
Aye.
Vice Chair is excused. Member Agas,
Aye.
Member Arakawa,
Aye.
Member Ching,
Aye.
Member Yona,
Aye.
Member Macaulay is excused. Member Menor McNamara,
Aye.
Member Miyasato,
As long as Member Zane accepts me, aye.
I think we'll get to that very shortly. Member Tokioka and Member White are excused. Member Zane.
Aye.
Aye, 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 aye.
And Member Miyasato, you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Motion carries, Chair.
I had to commit to remain on the committee. So I will, but I'm no longer the chair. So mahalo, Blaine. Members, we have come to the end of our meeting, record time. Call for a motion to adjourn. Can we just adjourn? We do? Okay. Meeting is adjourned. See you at Tourism Day, March 8th at the Capitol. Mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Mahalo.
Aloha.